Sure.
So we really want to avail ourselves to these paths. We want to have the freedom to explore all of these paths that are available through Tantra, and Tantra just means energy weaving. We want to be able to energetically weave with everything, everyone, everything is Tantra, everything.
I know. And you're very good at describing it. I mean, my mom also is a teacher. Clearly you're a teacher as well. And it seemed like, how do you feel? How was the jury? Did they feel receptive to you? It kind of seemed like they're excited to hear that you had a session with Wayne Dyer. I mean, most people know who Wayne Dyer is, and that maybe is something that they have heard of him. So much of what is being testified to, maybe this is a new concept. So what you brought a household name that they're like, okay, well, I have no idea what this is, but I am familiar with that name. So, I feel like your testimony, it seemed like was very interesting to the jury. How do you feel about how the jury received your testimony?
Well, we did have a miraculous experience getting Wayne to come to the temple, and I published all the details in my newest book, which is called, For Heaven's Sake, What on Earth Are We Doing Here? Really, what on earth are we doing here? And I think Wayne, and I do spiritually connect with Wayne often, and he's so supportive of this, the details of our story going out and going public. And I know he would have been here as a witness. He was on the witness to testify at this trial. Unfortunately, he was taken home before that happened, and so I testified in his place. I did do many sessions with Wayne after the first session at the Phoenix Goddess Temple in Maui. And Maui is a little bit more open arms with Tantra. There's a lot of goddesses that practice Tantra in Maui. It's a beautiful paradise, and Tantra just seems to
work well in paradise.
Yes, yes, it does. It definitely does. I'd be there right now, but I'm in Phoenix enjoying this paradise. And I do believe that the Tantra work, along with the other holistic practices that I introduced Wayne to, facilitated his healing his leukemia. We did a lot of energy work with Wayne and moving, the chakras and balancing chakras and doing Reiki and, whole body healing with Dr. Dyer. I know Miss Wayne because we were very close. And I believe he was on the verge of going public with his work that he was doing. The
experience of spiritual.
He endorsed me at the I Am Light conference as his therapist. Unfortunately, because Tantra is very controversial.
Yeah,
yes, and because he's so mainstream, it definitely would have been a career move for Wayne to express openly that he was doing Tantra work.
Yeah.
So.
And we're right at that place in time where bringing it to the light is the next necessary step, because there's a lot of people in the Tantra community, they're doing it very kind of closely, guarding what they do, sharing with people who come to them. But as far as the general public, as far as, most people don't really understand it, but they maybe have heard of it, but that's part of we're hoping what this trial will be, is helping bring information to the public, bring information so at least people are talking about it more openly.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Tracy and I have talked about calling this a classroom rather than a courtroom, that we're really educating the jurors, we're educating the prosecution, the judge, because
the court staff.
Yes, absolutely, because they don't know what all these terms mean, and it is an educational process. And for them to make a decision, they have to be fully informed. They have to know really what Tantra is all about.
Yeah, and part of their case is to say, oh, well, you're using these words to hide what you were doing and to confuse people, and you're saying this, but really it was this, where it just takes away all the meaning of what the words mean something. They're ancient, and they most certainly mean something to us, and that's definitely part of the education process. Shows that, can show the difference of their words versus our words.
Yeah, in our Western culture, we really don't have the terminology for Tantra, you know. You know, the Gnostics did. If you study ancient Christianity, Gnosis was a form of Tantra. It was of the oneness, or, I'm trying to think of the word they used. Oh, it slips my mind. But they had a word that described this oneness. That what the pleroma, if you studied the Gospel of Truth, that is a Gnostic gospel, they would talk about this beautiful place. It's called the pleroma, and it's called the oneness. And Native Americans talk about this too. They call it the oneness, and we get to enjoy that experience of knowing each other on a very intimate, you know, one spiritual level. You know, when we're connected here, we already knew each other from the before life, or you know, and so we're reconnecting those connections, and that's what Tantra is really about, is reconnecting ourselves with
remembering who you are and what you're capable of.
Absolutely, totally. And it's exciting work, and I love what I do. And I pray that this case will go in the direction that Tracy can set a precedence for this type of work to be carried on. It would be it would be really a disaster, really, if we didn't have access to this type of ancient knowledge and information. It would be really disturbing for the entire planet, really, because they really have tried to suppress this information from coming forth. The goddess information, the femininity, it's all been really suppressed, even in the scriptures. They don't like to talk about the divine feminine.
Because it's so powerful.
Yes. And it's very organic, you don't have to go through this line of authority to get it. You just go direct,
Yes.
you absolutely go direct. So that's what we need to do. It's just like calling home, I want to go direct. I don't want to go through an operator. I don't want to
Yes,
go through,
exactly.
a mediator or whatever. I want to get that direct connection. And that's really what Tantra and Kundalini activation is really about, is having that direct connection.
Well, thank you so much for your testimony.